Hey beauties, good evening to you. All right, so in continuing as per usual as it regards Mark Golden's speech today at the National Arena, he said another fundamental thing that I forgot to encapsulate or to capture in my post, and that is an area that is a sore thumb for many, many Jamaicans, and that is the area of contract workers. I never forgot last year, I think it was, or early this year, where the current Minister of Finance, Dr. Nigel Clark, had in his speech, it would have been this year, where he said he would have made a number of the public sector workers move from contract to being on staff permanently. But I don't like to use the word criticism, let's say constructive criticism to that was I have no problems, and I was actually happy for the cohort, let me put it that way, that he had chosen to put on staff. However, the cohort that he chose were seemingly only those of the lower echelon in society. Now, don't get me wrong, their salaries are indigent, their wages are horrible, deplorable, to say the very least. They probably got little benefits to none. So I was very happy for them, do not get me wrong. But one hand cannot clap. In other words, there are other people who contribute to the growth and to the development of the country. Also, they're humans as well. They too have needs. They too have desires that they would want to accomplish. So I was hoping that the what should I say now? The benefit would have been across the board. So not just those in at the lower level, but those in the middle. Predominantly, well, I say predominantly in terms of those in the middle versus those higher, because those higher probably are in a better stead. Perhaps most are already on staff. But I was just surprised that those in the middle area, and probably a little above the middle area, were not made or were not put on staff. It is a crying shame. Because when you're on contract, let me tell you, it's like living on the edge. It's almost like somebody just has you on a rope and you're at the edge of a very high cliff, maybe like at the edge of Mount Everest, and you're at their mercy, hoping that they will not push you off or cut the rope. That's the reality, my beautiful Jamaicans. Because with contract, they can end it when it finishes, and if falls move, let's put it that way. I don't even want to use the word falls, because really we should endeavor and maintain code of ethics and to be lawfully upright in our jobs and all of that. But there is almost the margin for error is very, very little. The margin for error is very little. It may not even be 80-20, maybe 95-5. Maybe I'm exaggerating, perhaps 90-10. So maybe 80-20. With the 80 not being the 20, I'm talking being the margin of error, perhaps. And if it ends, that's it. You're cut off. It's like you didn't exist. And in some companies, if you've been on contract for a number of years and then you go on staff, whenever you start becoming on staff, that is when it counts. Can you imagine if you're close to retirement? It's like what happened to the previous years. You'd have to pray that a Joel 2:25-27 becomes the order of the day in your life, where God restore the years that the locusts and the moth ate up, and the grasshoppers and all of these, plagues. It is a crying shame what is happening in our country. Travesty of justice. They did not employ what King Solomon, not even so much only King Solomon, but what King David did. The Bible said he treated the people fairly and justly. He treated them with fairness and justice in terms of how he remunerated them, in terms of how he dealt with them psychologically, mentally, emotionally, and socially. They have not mirrored that. God blessed Solomon with even more wealth, though, but I feel that he didn't have wealth, even though the Bible said he gave him, God gave him wealth after he prayed a prayer. His father was wealthy, not as wealthy as he was, but his father was wealthy. So he would have left generational wealth for him and the other children. And Solomon looked up to God and said, Lord, when he saw that he had these people to govern and to lead, and he wanted to do it, he wanted to follow in the footsteps. I believe sincerely like his father. Yes, he strayed for a moment and followed after other gods, and you see everything went awry. But he said, Lord, bless me with more knowledge, with wisdom and understanding in all you're getting. Get understanding, not just wisdom. Wisdom is key. Godly wisdom is key. It opens up some spiritual, blessings that no human can comprehend. There are many contract workers who are tired of being on contract. It's like them can't 7, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, or 22. It's like them 10 o'clock in the positive can't seem to come, neither the 12 or 1 or 2 o'clock. They need morning, the beautiful and bright morning, and the dawn to arise for them. So while you promote the ancillary staff, from contract to permanent and to being on staff, moving them from contract to being on staff, do the same for middle managers and people in the mid-range as well. And even those above, move them from contract. Give them some leverage to work with. Don't have them hanging on this mount at the edge of Mount Everest with a knife, kind of slowly slicing the rope. So when I heard, because the speech by Mark Golding was a bit lengthy. For me, it was a bit lengthy. I can understand because, you have to get everything out in the session. He mentioned some very fundamental points, very, very fundamental points that, as I said, one thing going for him is that corruption is not, like a halo over his head. Him in particular, I'm talking, not necessarily the party, I'm talking he in particular. And I'm not calling the other members that. I'm just saying that he can raise his hand to the sky, I suppose, in not being named or dubbed a man of corruption. That's why I tell Jamaicans, be careful how you think that all politicians are corrupt. No, that cannot be false. That cannot be a true statement. Somebody has to be true, and somebody has to have their hands clean. Even if majority is, if the minority still would have to be clean. Somebody or two would have to be clean. So not all of them are corrupt. And I think he is one of them. I give him the benefit of the doubt. And I'm not speaking, and again, I'm not aligned to any political party at all. A man was saying that, better you say it is your party. I laugh to myself. I say, why I wink at your ignorance. If you only knew. If you only knew. Sometimes I just have to smile when I hear Jamaicans, again, they don't use critical thinking skills in comments that they make. Even though you may hear somebody speak, positively to one particular party, and I've spoken positively for both, actually. But maybe because he has not seen my posts, he has made that assumption. But that's fine. For me, you can always think what you want, That's your prerogative. But that would be good, though, That would be good to see if that particular party should, take up residence and become the next governing party, if they should. It's a crying shame with what is just happening presently in the public sector realm. It is atrocious. I need not say it because I've said it in so many other videos, across the board, whether it's education-wise, health sector, civil servants, all over. Anyway, guys, follow me on TikTok. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share this.